Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Continuing a verbal commentary on Sri Vishnu Sahasranama, following the commentaries of previous acharyas of various sampradayas. Name 393 is Tustah. So I think you all know what the word Tustah means. Satisfied. Yeah. Must come in Telugu. Yeah. This word comes several times in Bhagavad Gita. Santushta satatam yogi. The yogi is Santushta is a more common form of the word in Bengali, and I think in Hindi also, is it? Yeah. Telugu? Santushta gives the sense of being perfectly, completely satisfied. So the prefix sam gives that. The commentators mostly translate this as being full of happiness. Satisfaction is the basis of happiness, of sustained happiness. The basis is satisfaction. Someone who's suffering may get relief from suffering, and they may experience that as a kind of happiness. Just like if someone is being beaten with iron bars and they stop beating him, then he may feel, this is very nice. But real happiness is that which is intrinsic to one's being. Therefore, the term is there, Atma Rama, which generally understood to mean someone who's happy in themselves. It can also be understood to mean one whose very being is happy. So, Krishna is full of happiness. And if we become Krishna conscious, then we also become not merely satisfied, but fully happy. Happiness may not always manifest as jumping up in the air in very sfurta. It's very much manifested. But there's a kind of happiness of being satisfied, knowing that I'm doing what I should be doing, performing my duty properly. Anyway, all kinds of happiness are in Krishna. Not the happiness of ceasing from suffering, because that's material happiness. That's not really happiness. Relief from distress is not happiness. Another name which has already occurred is Saha, which means that he tolerates. So to tolerate something, that's one thing, but to be satisfied, that's more. Toleration means that you don't really like something, but anyway, you don't make a fuss about it. But satisfaction means that you're not disturbed by anything because the mind is very peaceful and one's happy in everything. Now, the Sri Vaishnava commentator on this, Parashar Bhakta, in his Bhagavata Guna Darpanam commentary, links this series of names which we're going through, particularly with the personality of Ramachandra Bhagavan. Although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appears as in human society as if he is a human being. And when the demigods appeared before him and praised him as Bhagavan, you are Bhagavan, you are the Supreme Lord, he said, well, you can say that, but I consider myself to be a human being, the son of Dasharath. So it's not that it's a great austerity for him to assume the role of a human That thinking that this, anyway, I promised to uplift the sadhus and destroy the demons, so anyway it's miserable, but anyway I'll just tolerate it and be a human for some time. The form of Rama is his eternal swarup, his eternal spiritual form. And he thinks of himself by the power of his own yoga maya potency. He thinks of himself not as the Supreme Lord, but as the son of Dasharatha. And he's completely satisfied and happy being the son of Dasharatha. We don't find any instance of him telling anyone, hey, you don't know who I am, I'm the Supreme Lord, you better watch what you're saying. You don't know what a big person I am. We see in Ramchandra Bhagavan, even though he is praised by everyone, a complete lack of egoism. Because he's quite satisfied. Atmanyeva atmana Tustah sita pragyasta docete. One who is situated in realized knowledge, he's satisfied within himself. He doesn't require anything from outside to give him happiness. Although, at the same time we see that although the Supreme Lord is by nature Atmaram, fully satisfied in himself, he nevertheless expands himself into innumerable living beings so that he can enjoy loving exchanges with each and every one of them. Rama, he's satisfied, but he becomes more happy when he sees his citizens are happy. Leader of the citizens is not supposed to exploit the citizens, but to see that they are perfectly satisfied in all respects. Rama, as an ideal king, lived by this motto, and of course the Supreme Lord is happy to see that his devotees are happy. That is his happiness. How does the Supreme Lord become happy? He's happy seeing his devotees happy. So that doesn't mean that someone thinks, well, I'm a devotee, so I should go out and do whatever I can to make myself happy, and that's bhakti. Rather, a devotee's endeavor is always to satisfy the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord's endeavor is always to satisfy his devotee. Another point we can see that Krishna, even though he's a great person, he becomes very happy with a simple offering if it's offered with love. He may be worshipped by offering him gems and jewels and gold and so many things. But he says, Patrang pushpang phalam toryam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upaharitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. So he who is the proprietor of everything is satisfied and very happy with just offering of some very minor things, if they are offered with love. So he's not subjected to the pains and pleasures of this world, so he's always situated in spiritual bliss. He's neither, when Rama was told that you're going to be crowned as the ruler of Ayodhya tomorrow, nor did he become elated and start jumping up and down and thinking, I made it. When he was told that he would be promoted to the ruler, he didn't show any sign of particular emotion. Okay, something will happen. Nor when he was told that this honor had been taken away from him and that he would have to go to the forest for 14 years, did he show any sign of depression. Similarly, when Gandhari cursed that the Yadava race should come to an end forever, Krishna, he didn't become disturbed. So we read in Bhagavad Gita, we hear about someone who's undisturbed in happiness and distress. And of course the Supreme Lord is himself the greatest exemplar of this. Krishna is that yogi. He's the best of all yogis. But at the same time, he's very much attached to his devotees. He has no material attachment or repulsion, but he does have spiritual attachment to his devotees. So the next name after Tustah is Pustah. Pustah is also a common word in modern Indian languages. Telugu also?
Pustah.
No?
Pushti.
Pushti, yeah.
Pushti is there, yeah.
Mushti. It's also a common word.
Pushti.
Pushti. It means nourished.
Pushta.
Srila Prabhupada, two of his sannyasi disciples, one was Tustah Krishna, another one was Pustah Krishna. So Krishna, he nourishes the whole world. Eko yo bahanams, what is that? Eko yo bahanam vidadhati kaman. He is the one who feeds everyone, but he's also takes the role of being nourished by, as a child, by Mother Kaushalya and Mother Yashoda. It gives the idea of being well nourished, maybe for a baby a little fatty. And who is Pustah becomes Chustah also, becomes very strong. We find that all the devotees are very eager to feed Krishna. Actually, in the human body, if we eat excessively, we get indigestion. But Krishna has transcendental digestion. You must know that song that's in here. This Shukta Shakadi Bhaje Nalita Kushmanda Dali Dalna Dugda Tumbi Dadhi Mocha Khanda. It's a description of all these. Do you know this song? There's a description of so many food items which are offered to Krishna in Jashoda Bhavan, in the home of Nanda and Yashoda. So many preparations. So you might think, well, that's a pretty big lunch. It's not madhyana bhojanam, it's not lunch. It's breakfast. Because at lunchtime, it's not alpaharam. It's definitely not alpaharam. It's morning, it's madhyanam, prabhatanam, something like that. But at midday he's out in the forest with the cows. So he takes tiffin with him. Sometimes one of the servants brings it out to him. And Krishna is well nourished. There's so many devotees all over the world offering food to Krishna. He says, I will accept it, I will eat it, ashnami, I will eat it. He doesn't say, well, actually Mother Yashoda feeds me, and in Puri they feed me so much, and I'm full up, don't offer me any more. Krishna can eat any amount. So that's a great offering of love of the devotees to offer food to Krishna. But how can they nourish him? There's no question of him being sick. He's the source of all strength, so there's no question of any weakness in him. But nevertheless, the devotees, they have the feeling that he's being nourished by them feeding him. Mother Yashoda thinks, I have to feed my child all very good food, so he'll grow up stout and strong. So there's a feeling like that. Another meaning of Pustah, different meanings are also given. Baladev Vidyabhushan says that the devotees always try to please him by offering not only palatable food, but all kinds of nice things. Fragrant incense and oils, clothing. We find in the Vallabh Sampradaya, they'll give him little toys to play with also. Traditional toys like a spinning, not computer games. I think that these computer games, they, from the very beginning of life, they train children to be demoniac, actually. I've never seen a computer game, but I just have the feeling it's like training them to be good people. Another meaning is that Pustah means he's full of all noble qualities. So that certainly is the description of Ramachandra Bhagavan. Not that Krishna is lacking in nobility, but Rama, he manifests that. He is Maryada Purushottam. He is the form of the Lord who particularly manifests all noble qualities. Another meaning is that of Pustah is that he's cherished.
మరొక అర్థం ఏమిటంటే ఆయన రసాన్ని పెంపొందిస్తూ ఉంటాడు అని.
Held as being very dear to the heart. So that certainly is true in the case of Yashoda and Kaushalya. They try to feed their transcendental sons very nicely, and they cherish them as their most dear object of their love. Pustah means he's nourished, he's complete, he's full in all respect. So in that way he's also satisfied. Tustah and Pustah, they go together. It's like in that Bhagavatam verse, there's the analogy of someone eating tushti pushti. The two things go together. By eating one becomes satisfied and one becomes nourished. So he's all complete in himself, yet he craves the love of his devotees. He becomes nourished by the love of his devotees. Then another name is Subheksanah, which means whose vision or whose eyes are very auspicious. We often think of, let us go for darshan. There's a plan that this afternoon we shall all go for darshan of Lakshmi Narasimhadeva Yadgiri Gutta. But our acharyas have taught us that better than thinking let me go to see Bhagavan is let me be seen by him. Of course he always sees us. Bahi nrsimho hridaye nrsimha yato yato yami tato nrsimha. He's outside, he's inside, wherever I go he's there, Nrsimhadev. Ito nrsimha parato nrsimho yato yato yam. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. But a devotee aspires that he will specifically cast his merciful glance upon me. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, don't try to see God. That doesn't sound like the kind of instruction that a guru of bhakti would teach us. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would say that try to act in such a way that God will want to see you. He will become very pleased to see you. Anyway, he sees us all the time. But if he is pleased to see us, that is the perfection of our life. Ram is pleased to see Hanuman. He's pleased to see Vibhishana. He doesn't feel happiness in seeing Ravana. Well, in one sense he has happiness in seeing Ravana because he thinks now he's in front of me, now I'll kill him. But it's a different feeling. In English we say, nice to see you. No one ever means it when they say it, but it's like saying, how are you? It's just something you say politely. Yes, so that is the aim of a devotee, that Krishna will glance upon me favorably, mercifully. Kripa Kataksha, glance of mercy. By the Kripa Drishti, by the merciful vision, by the Lord mercifully casting His glance upon us, we can achieve all perfection. Kaivalyam narakayate tridasha pura akasha pushpayate durdash indriya kala sarpapatali prodkata dangstrayate vishvang purna sukhayate vidhi mahindra dischakitayate yat karunya kataksha vaibhavatam tam gaurameva stomaha. For one who has received just a little glance of the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the achievement of becoming liberated from this material world and merging into impersonal oneness seems just like hell. Why? Because pure devotional service to Krishna is so much more relishable than impersonal liberation. Kaivalyam narakayate, then Tridasha Pura Akasha Pushpayate, and the achievement of attaining the heavenly planets seems to such a person who's received a little glance of the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, seems to be something as absurd as talking about flowers growing in the sky. As far as controlling the senses, that very difficult thing to do is concerned. For someone who has received the mercy glance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the senses, which are like poisonous snakes, become like poisonous snakes with their poison fangs removed. In other words, harmless. By the mercy glance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this whole world which is full of misery seems just like it becomes actually full of bliss, because such a person thinks of Krishna always. To such a person, Brahma, Indra and such big personalities become no more important to him than a little insect. There's no interest in the high position or the low position of this world. So that is the effect of the mercy glance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Apart from that, apart from the effect of the glance of the Supreme Lord, his eyes are very beautiful. Rama Kamalalochanaha. Hanuman praises Rama as having beautiful lotus eyes. There are so many words which mean lotus-eyed. The most beautiful eyes. Some people insist that God has no form. They're actually envious of the beautiful form of Krishna. They themselves don't have beautiful eyes, and they deny anyone can have beautiful eyes. They see beautiful eyes of a woman as Maya. I want to escape from this Maya. So they see all beautiful eyes as being very dangerous. But they don't want to surrender to Krishna. So for them the beautiful eyes of Krishna are also dangerous. Just like they don't want to be attracted by the beautiful eyes of a woman, they don't want to be attracted by the beautiful eyes of Krishna either. So the good quality of their being detached from the attractions of this world is cancelled and worse even, by their bad quality of not wanting to be attracted to Krishna. There's a verse from Ramayana, the translation of which is follows: whoever has not seen Rama, or whomsoever Rama has not seen, that person stands condemned by all people in this world. And he is, even if no one condemned him, his own very existence is condemned for his non-attachment to Rama. His merciful glance is the beginning of all auspiciousness. If somehow we can get the merciful glance of the Supreme Lord upon us, then all auspiciousness begins. So all the citizens of Ayodhya, they were very happy to have daily the darshan of the lotus feet, the lotus form, the lotus eyes of Sri Rama. And they were distraught at the prospect that now we shall not be able to see him for 14 years. There are many prayers and poems and songs by devotees praising the beauty of the form of the Lord, and especially his beautiful... Yeah, there are many names like Kamala Locham, which means lotus-eyed, here in the... say that first of all. Already in Vishnu Sahasranama, the names have come up. Padmani Bhakshana, Aravindaksha. You can probably think of many other names that describe him as being lotus-eyed. By his glancing, he brings the whole universe into existence. There are many examples of persons who just by the glance of the Supreme Lord, just by being able to see Him and being seen by Him, their whole life became perfect. Ramayana, we see the examples of, for instance, Parashuram, he's Bhagavad Avatar himself. Guha, Hanuman, Shabari. Shabari was just waiting and waiting for Rama to come, and then I'll have darshan of Rama, then I will die. The next name in Vishnu Sahasranama is Rama. And the commentators, they don't do any particularly long commentary, because if we start to give a long commentary, then we have to give our whole life and many, many lifetimes. The whole Ramayana is praises the activities, qualities of Lord Rama. And so many devotees have composed so many prayers, being inspired by Saraswati. They are inspired to compose so many prayers in praise of him. So Rama, this name we generally associate with the first son of Dasharat. It also means Parashurama, also means Balarama, and it also means Krishna, because Rama means who is all delightful. Especially he delights the hearts of the yogis. Ramante yogino nante satyananda chidatmani iti Rama padena so satyananda chidatmani. This Padma Purana verse describes that Rama means who is the Supreme Absolute Truth, who is the eternal genuine form of bliss for the yogis. He's the source of that bliss, which is spiritual bliss. What can we do in this material world to be happy? Well, we could get lots of money, for instance. We could... what else? Well, there are so many stories of people, they get the genie in the bottle. The genie can give you any wish fulfilled. Genie from jinn. English word genie from Arabic, I guess it is. Jinn. All your wishes fulfilled. But whatever happiness we have in the material world is nothing to compare with the happiness of Krishna consciousness. Material happiness by its very nature is simply a fraud. It's not real happiness at all. But Rama is he who the Supreme Absolute Truth, who awards eternal, complete, genuine, spiritual happiness to the yogis. So that refers to all the forms of the Lord, including, of course, the original form, Krishna. He's happy and he makes up this happiness. And Krishna especially makes the gopis of Vrindavan happy by performing transcendental pastimes with them. A few dictionary definitions for the name Rama. One of them is dark colored, in which that is similar to Shama. Another meaning of Rama is white, just the opposite. Another meaning of Rama is very pleasant, lovely, beloved. These are different meanings. So the two basic meanings are he who delights others and he in whom others find real pleasure, transcendental pleasure, spiritual pleasure. It's not only the yogis who take pleasure in Rama. Any happiness that anyone perceives, even this illusory material happiness, that is derived from the real happiness, which is the spiritual happiness of Krishna consciousness. Another reading of that Padma Purana verse, Ramante yogino nante nityananda chidatmani. It's another reading. So, it's quite apparent about Rama and Krishna and all the forms of the Lord. They're just completely blissful. They are Sat, Chit, and most importantly, Anandamaya. There are so many references in the Shastra. Also, if we want to discuss comparative theology, then that the supreme absolute truth is bliss, spiritual bliss. That is the best proposition. Highest of all is the bliss of love. So Rama gives pleasure to everyone. Krishna gives pleasure to everyone. All the forms of the Lord give pleasure, and especially to the devotees. People who are of perverted consciousness, they actually don't like Krishna. But even the enemies of Krishna can become attracted to him. Thakur sings, Ashura Shaka, Pailo Charan, all the demons attain to your lotus feet. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, and Vali's wife, Tara. So because your husband's enemy is your enemy, they should have been enemies of Rama. They both saw Ram first of all after he had slain their husband. But nevertheless, immediately upon seeing Rama, they realized, oh, this is the Supreme Lord. So he himself is all bliss, and he gives all bliss to others. And that's all he really wants to do. He comes to this world and he just offers everyone, be happy. He invites us to share in his happiness. Of course, we cannot enjoy the perverse, degraded happiness of sense gratification of this world and delight in Rama also. In the material world, whatever happiness is there is mixed with distress. The little happiness that is available in this world is not really happiness at all, and it's inevitably accompanied by lots of distress. But the happiness of the spiritual world is completely devoid of any distress. Now it might seem that the pastimes of Rama are full of distress, but actually it is all Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. It's all spiritual, transcendental bliss. Although by performing his pastimes in the world which appear to be distressful, Lord Rama teaches us about the condition of this material world. Okay, then we're supposed to finish at 11:45, is it? All ready to serve prasadam? 12 o'clock, okay. So we can sing one more bhajan.